Hello Poppets and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to turn into the dark side of Harry Potter, the dark arts, dark side of the wizarding world, dark side of the franchise we know and love. Today we're going to talk about the 10 scariest scenes, in my opinion, in the Harry Potter series. And you need to tell me if you agree with me, and if I've missed some. I mean, I had to only pick 10, but if you want to add to the list and make it more than 10, let me know in the comments. But before we get started, if this is the first time you are seeing this face, subscribe for magical stuff. Also, a massive, massive thank you to the subscribers on this channel that are channel members. You guys are legends. Anywho, we're just going to get into this and we're going to go straight to number 1. Now, I've ranked him as in like pick 10 out, and I've ranked and gathered 10. But they're not in order. I've got them written down on my phone. I wrote them down last night, okay? So number 1 is when Voldemort returns. We're gonna start off with quite a dark scene. So the first time we properly see Voldemort is towards the end in the Goblet of Fire. So we're 4 films in, or we're 4 stories in. 4 books, 4 films, 4 in. But before we see him, we get this fear of him because he's spoke about. They don't even say his name. So when he actually returns, my days, my heart, it skipped a beat. No, that's the wrong choice of words. You know what I mean. I was fearful. I was like, Harry's going to die. This is it. This is the end of the series. Obviously, it didn't, luckily. But that scene where he returns, the build-up, I think, more than anything, to that scene throughout the other films and books, that build-up, that's what makes it so scary. But I had to include that. I mean, he's using unforgivable curses as well. Let's not forget that. Nah, he's a scary bloke, but he's not scarier than Umbridge. But she is on the list, and I'll tell you why soon. Number 2, the scene where Bellatrix is torturing Hermione when she's carving things in her arm, mudblood in her arm. That scene is horrifying, and Emma Watson did a really good job in acting that out. She really, really did. But that scene, those screams that come out of Hermione, go straight through me every time. It doesn't matter how many times I've listened to it, it still goes through me. It still gives me those horrible goosebumps. It is just a horrific scene. Like one of the scenes that probably horrify me the most. And it's Bellatrix smiling as well. I'm not gonna lie, Bellatrix is a favourite witch of mine. I'm nothing like her, alright, but she's badass and I really like her, but I didn't like her in that scene. That was really bad, Bellatrix. We don't do that to people. I mean, she also obviously killed Sirius Black, but we're not gonna get into that. We're not going. Bellatrix is not one of the scariest characters, okay? And we're not talking about characters today. Well, we are, but not in a sense of scary. We're talking about scenes that are scary. And that scene where Bellatrix is tormenting Hermione honestly gets me every time. Let me know if it's the same for you. Number 3, Bathilda Bagshot. So it's not Bathilda Bagshot though, is it? Obviously, we've got Harry and Hermione that go with Bathilda Bagshot into her house. And she obviously wants to show them something. And it's not Bathilda Bagshot, is it? No, it's not. And that scene really gets to me, especially when that damn snake comes from those stairs when they think they've got it and it just leaps out. If I'd have watched that in 3D, my days, I'd have been through that cinema wall. But that scene, I think, is more scary now that I know it's coming. So the first time around watching it, obviously it was an absolute shock seeing what happened to Bathilda Bagshot. But the second time round watching it, and further on, because I don't even care to admit how many times I've seen the Harry Potter films. No, I don't mind. I just haven't got count. I don't keep count. It's impossible to keep count. There's always a Harry Potter on in the background, okay, in this house. But that scene, the more and more that I've watched it, because I know what's coming. So the second time I remember watching it, and that's when I tweaked that she wanted Hermione out of the way. She just wanted Harry because Harry can talk Parseltongue. He can talk to snakes. So the second time around I was watching it, I was like, nah, clever. I like it. But I think, yeah, that it's one of them scenes where after the first time you've seen it, it then gets quite scary because you know what's coming, and you know, and you're like, Harry, Hermione, no, don't follow it. It's not Bathilda Bagshot. They're not listening to me. But yeah, I would definitely class that as quite a scary scene. And I do think it's quite a top scary scene, that one. Okay, number 4. Voldemort feeding on the unicorn. So this is in Philosopher's Stone, and Harry's in the Dark Forest, Forbidden Forest, and he sees, I think he's on detention, isn't he? He's in the forest with Draco Malfoy and Ron and Hagrid. Yes, Hagrid and Ron go off, and Draco, Harry and Fang go off, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with the unicorns. And Harry found out. Draco left him. He's literally such a coward. But Draco ran off and left him, and left Harry to... They didn't know it was Voldemort at the time, at that split moment, did he? But his scar ended up hurting. It's just the way he's overfeeding it, the music. And I was quite young when I first saw that scene, okay? And it got to me. It got to me. And then I realised, I think that's when I realised this could be quite a dark series, just through seeing that scene. Okay, number 5. Umbridge being able to cast a Patronus charm. So with a Patronus charm, you need to be like pure. You need these happy memories. You need to be you need happiness. You need happiness. In a nutshell, you need happiness to cast a Patronus charm. Okay. Death Eaters can't. Snape can, but that's because he was actually not. You know, he was on the good. He's a good man. I don't care what you say. I likes me a bit of Snape. But Death Eaters are not happy people. They do bad things. There's no happiness there. They can't cast Patronus charms. Umbridge. Can I just say? Right, the scene that's horrible is where she tortures children, obviously with those quills. I must not tell lies and all that. And she just sits there with a smile on her face doing it. But the fact that she can cast a Patronus charm means she's just genuinely happy with what she does to people. But yeah, that scene where she's torturing the children, they're all in the hall. I mean, it's bad enough, obviously, when she does it to Harry. I think... that scene in the book is worse than in the film. I can remember when I read it and it was like, Those of you that know that I watched the films before I read the books. And that's because when I was younger, when the books were coming out, I struggled to sit and read. I still don't. I'm not very good at it now. I'm a fidget bum, basically. But stick a film on and I do get... I love reading. I do class myself as a reader. It's just I go through phases where I can sit and read a book. It's very strange. The only time I can sit and not be fidgety is at night. But you can't really read when you're tired because it doesn't happen, does it? But yeah, that scene in the book is worse. I remember it when I'd read it. I was like, whoa, this is so much worse than in the film. But it's a horrific scene and she's just smiling. She's smiling. Harry's literally getting words carved into his hand because of her. She knows exactly what she's doing, why she gave him the quill and what was going to happen. And she's smiling. It is a horrible scene. And yeah, I had to add in the bit that, you know, technically she shouldn't be able to cast a Patronus, but she can because she's evil and she's happy about being evil. Like, ecstatic to be able to cast a Patronus charm. She's disgusting, that woman. She's disgusting. We love to hate her, don't we? We love to hate her. I do love the Umbridge aesthetic, though. So number 6, I can never say this, in theory, that's how you say it, isn't it? Now, in Half-Blood Prince, obviously, Dumbledore and Harry go to get the locket Horcrux from the cave. And they bump into Inferi. It is actually, looking on the internet, a top scary scene. But for me, it is a scary scene because I don't like zombies. I don't like zombies. Zombies really scare me. And Inferi do look a lot like zombies. And they are zombies. They're zombies. And they're gross. Why did you have to include zombies in the Harry Potter series? But yeah, in that Inferi scene, it makes me do all this, you know, when they're crawling out the water and I'm like, oh, the thought of one touching me. No, don't let it bite you, you'll turn into one. I was like, The apocalypse is happening in Harry Potter. But yeah, it is a very horrible scene. I don't like that one. Nah. Okay, this isn't on the list because it's not a certain scene, but I've had to include this in because any scene with Greyback in it, he literally scares me so much. More than Voldemort, more than Umbridge. I hate that man. He scares me. Wolf thing. Yeah. Greyback is just, no, that's not number 7. I just have to include it. Okay. But number 7, speaking of number 7, the next scene I chose that does creep me out a lot is in Chamber of Secrets when Harry and Ron go see Aragog and the babies. No, thank you. No. Spiders scare me, and they do. They scare a lot of people. It's the legs. 8 legs is not normal. But when you see a absolute 25-foot spider in front of you, no. Mm-mm. And then it threatens to eat you, or its babies are going to eat you rather. No. No, I can't deny my baby's a feast, or however it's said. I can't remember the quote, but no. But that scene when they're talking to Aragog and then the spiders all start coming from the ceiling and crawling and they're going round them, and it's like, no. And then obviously trying to escape them as well, and they're crawling with their 8 legs. They're going to be fast. They've got 8 legs. They've outnumbered us with legs, aren't they? So they're going to be faster than us. But oh my days, no. That scene is horrific. Absolutely horrific. Okay, number 8 is the scene where Katie Bell touches the cursed opal necklace. Every time, it's such a short scene, but every time I watch that scene, I go cold. So cold. I think it's the noise. When she gets lifted up into the air and her mouth's wide open and there's this like noise with it. It's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. That scene horrifies me. Does it horrify you? I don't remember seeing that scene on the internet. I was just looking through the internet last night looking for inspiration for this video, trying to remember some of the scenes because I can't sit and watch all of the films ready for today's video. So I had to go through the internet, look at some of the scariest scenes. I can't remember seeing that one, but that one popped in my head when I was jotting down notes for today's video. And yeah, that scene does horrify me. It's the way she gets lifted up, the way she drops. It's kind of that zombie thing again, isn't it? She's just lifeless and... oh, no. But does that scene get to you? I'm not the only one, and I know I'm not going to be the only one, because it is quite horrifying. Okay, number 9, I have got the basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets. So, obviously, Harry gets finally to the Chamber of Secrets with his parcel tongue mouth, and he goes in. And he ends up being alone because of Lockhart. He gets separated from Lockhart and Ron, and he goes and ventures into the chambers all by himself. That basilisk is huge, and when it's chasing him, or slithering, chasing, can you call it chasing? Because chasing would include legs, right? You can't say chasing. He's slithering through, and he's trying to get Harry, and it's one of them scenes where it just grips you. You can't help but watch it, but it's horrifying at the same time. And the way it just like lunges and things, and it's like, no. I am not scared of snakes. I used to have a snake. I had a corn snake quite a few years ago. I'm getting old. Quite a few years ago, I had a corn snake, and he was called Manfred. Don't ask why. It was just the name I gave him, okay? And he was gorgeous. I am not scared of snakes. If someone said, hold my snake, yeah, give me a snake. I'm not scared of him. But that basilisk, no. Do you know what? I didn't think I was scared of horses until I went to see my friend's horse, and we passed through a field of horses when I realised that these horses were in the field with me, and they weren't fenced off, and they all sort of came over happy, and they just wanted to see me. There was 5 of them, and I was like, oh, trying to step back a bit because they're quite big. And then we got in to see my friend's horse, but the other horses followed. Her horse come bounding towards us because he wanted his mum, my friend. And I was like, oh my days. And then the other ones were behind me. They started surrounding me, and I stood there and I just froze. And my friend was laughing. She was like, they're not going to hurt you. I was like, I'm used to small animals. I have a guinea pig and a hamster. These are huge. And I don't think I'm scared of them. I'm just not used to them. And No, they could hurt you. They could hurt you, so no. So yeah, the basilisk is huge. Going back, you know, that was a bit off topic. Side rant! But yeah, the basilisk is huge. That scene is very sort of on the edge of your seat because it is slithering after Harry and it's very creepy. Plus you've got Tom Riddle in the mix as well. Throw him in the mix with the basilisk and it's like, oh my days. Last but not least, number 10, the Battle of Hogwarts. So obviously it's an ongoing scene throughout half the film or what have you, but the Battle of Hogwarts, every time I watch it, it scares me. It has me in tears. I'm not afraid to say it. No shame, no shame. I know it makes some of you cry as well. But it's scary because I don't know how they've done it so that you feel like you're there. I don't know. I just feel like I'm there and I feel everything that everyone's feeling. It's really well done. But the Battle of Hogwarts, it is probably an ultimate scary part of the series because you've got so many people dying. You've got so many people injured. You lose... We lose so many characters that we've known and loved throughout the whole franchise, the series, and it is horrible. It really is horrible. It's horrifying, it's terrifying, it's scary, it's sad, it's literally all the emotions. And then you find out about Harry, and when people say to me, what is your go-to Harry Potter, what do you like to put on, it's never Deathly Hallows Part 2. I remember going to see Deathly Hallows Part 2 at the cinema with Matt. Now, God, we'd not had the house long when that came out. And we've been in the house 13 years in August. That's crazy. But I said to Matt, it was advertised on the telly that it was coming in cinemas soon. And I said, I really want to go see it. Would you go with me? And he said, that's fine, but I haven't watched the other Harry Potters. I was like, I've just bought a house with you. What do you mean you've never watched Harry Potter? He was like, well, I'll watch them to go. Do you have them on DVD? DVD? Do you have them on DVD? Do I have them on DVD? Of course I have them on DVD. So we watched one a night the week leading up to go into the cinema to see it. And yeah, he's obviously transformed into a wizard because he absolutely loves it. He loves the Wizarding World. He loves the Harry Potters. So that's great, thankfully. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married him. I'm joking. But yeah, so when we went to the cinema to see it, at the end, I was crying. And Matt was like, gosh, was you like really that upset? And I was like, but it's the last film. That's it. That's the last Harry Potter. I cried because of that. I cried because of the characters. I cried because I found it quite scary. Not like, I don't know, it was scary. Not in the sense that it's like traumatised me for life, because that's what I made it sound like then. But I did find it quite scary, and I had to include that into this top 10 list because it is very scary. People are dying, it's scary. Do you know what I mean? And it just really draws me in, and it really makes me feel like I'm there. It makes me feel what everybody's feeling, and I do find it quite scary. Probably the scariest because, like I said, Deathly Hallows Part 2 is probably the film that I've seen the least. If I go through in a marathon, sometimes I don't watch Part 2 and I go straight to Philosopher's Stone again. I don't watch it that much. It's a good film, it really is. But the Battle of Hogwarts, I hate it. I hate watching it. It's horrible. Even Lavender. Even Lavender, like seeing her, and it was just horrific, absolutely horrific. Seeing Lupin and Tonks, seeing Fred, it's really horrible, it's horrific, and it's a very scary, scary time at Hogwarts. It's when things become massively real in the Wizarding World, and it's horrific. But there you go, they are my top 10. If you know of any more, leave them in the comments for me. I will most likely agree with you on the scene that you're going to tell me, but I had to obviously pick 10. There are more scenes. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. In the maze, during the Triwizard Tournament, the maze is quite scary. So is the lake, the Black Lake. I didn't like that scene. The dragon should be one of the scariest, but it wasn't. To me, it wasn't. It was quite cool. Not to be in that situation, but to watch as a spectator. It was really cool. Well done, Harry. Yeah, there'll be lots more, but they are what speak out to me the most. 100%. But yeah, please let me know yours in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. You know I love your company, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye, Poppets.